he looked at me with big eyes, and he had foam on his mouth. And I was 7, and it was the time of rabies, and I knew this dog had rabies, and I had to get out of here as soon as I could. But my legs did not run yet, but I turned myself around and I screamed, "Ah!" And I was lifted up and transported to the sky and put down in the garden of my parents. And I looked around and the gate was closed, and far away came the dog running. And my mom opened the windows from the first store and she said, "Everything okay?" And I said, "Yes, my angel did it." Now, my mom had 5 other kids, so I was lucky that she may not have been thought much about those angel remarks. But she might have thought she goes a little bit much to that church in the morning. Well, you know, I was a devotee, a real devotee. Like, I felt it in my whole body. I felt like I had a direct line with my Creator. And it was such an awesome feeling that I didn't care whether it was made up or whether it was real. For me, it was real. And this angels putting me in the garden was another proof of that. Now, Jesus was my pal also, I must say. So I was not totally alone in this. How did that came to be? Well, when I was born, they figured out that I was probably not able to walk. So they had to hand me next day to the nurses. My dad did that. My dad handed me to the nurses to see what the doctor still could do. And here I am, laying in my bed, and see these giants with these white coats, and woo, 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 talking to each other. And I knew they were talking about me. Never ever they addressed me. But I was scared because these hands were big like that, and they moved my legs and my feet, and they squeezed it. And I was so scared. It is like you hear these days the alien abduction informations. That was it. That's fear I had. And the fear also was because, of course, I had to have surgery. And they put the mask on my little face. And I fought it. I screamed so loud, but I felt my life being sucked out under me. But then I felt lifted up again, and I felt hovering over me. I just left my body. And I was not alone. There were a lot of angels around me. All that light was around me. And I felt like, that is awesome. And the best thing was that we were totally quiet when the surgery started. We were full concentrated on what was happening to that little body down there. And guess who was sitting there also? That was Jesus himself. He was sitting there, watching, making sure that the surgeons did their best job. Because they had found a new procedure, and I was the first one to test it out. Luckily, at that moment, straight away. Well, I was also not really alone by that. There was, with Jesus, we had a little band. And of course, I knew about Jesus because I was raised Catholic. And also the nurses were nuns. So yeah, definitely they talked about Jesus. So I made my Jesus myself. But I wanted him to make my pal. And at the age of 3, I saw my chance. When all the pins stuck out of my feet to hold them straight, I came out of surgery and I told my mom, "Now I'm like Jesus." And of course it must have been a dagger in her heart, but I felt pals with Jesus. And my black angel was there too. Now how did I get a black angel? My mom told me later that there was a massage therapist, a black colored massage therapist, who massaged my legs and my feet, and he hummed always with it. But she does not know what really happened with him, and she may have seen him only once. I knew it was my angel. You know, it was my angel. But was he real in that body? Real like a real person? And did I get his angel spirit with me for the rest of my life? Who knows? So, with my angel, my black angel made me always laughing. And Jesus, I could always ask for advice. Like when I was 10, there was a new priest, and he said, and I said to Jesus, why did you choose him? And Jesus said, I didn't do it. He did it himself. He did it himself. I did not know what an important sentence that was that I got at the age of 10. Because we are so responsible for our own deeds. But it got me clear more and more later. So I said to him, I said, okay, would you mind if we go to choir from now on so that I don't need to listen to him? And Jesus said, yes, come on, let's go. And we went, and from then on, I sang. So all these experiences were really downloaded in me. And I lived with it. And I thought everybody has angels, you just don't talk about it. But at 15, my black angel and Jesus said, we have to go. You're fine. You can handle it. Your life is starting. And there's a lot to do outside. I thought, that last one I can imagine. Yeah, knowing a little bit about the world when you were 15. So I said goodbye to them. And I did not know that already a few months after that, my first Me Too situation occurred at 15. What the lesson was from that is that a few months later, I heard that this person drove himself with his motorcycle into a tree and died. I felt total freedom. I felt total freedom, not because he died, but because I knew I had not felt revenge or blame or accusing him. I had not felt that. And this was a proof that I did not need to feel that, because everybody will be accountable for their own deeds. Everybody will need to face what happened. I don't need to blame, accuse, and shame someone or say, I'm going to teach you a lesson, or I'm going to drag you to court. I don't need to, because there is more to it. We are living in a wider concept than we might know. That was lesson 1. Lesson 2 came two years later. I was 17 and I was going to join my parents. They were on vacation and I had to cross Paris. You know Paris? So the metro, when I got out of the metro, it was new for me, so I wanted to look what the next station was. And I knew what the next station was. I put it in my purse. I took my backpack and my 2 bags, and I walked. But then I saw all the people were gone. And these hallways were empty. And yes, there came a man out of the side, and I thought, oh my. And he came up to me, and he was very indecent dressed, so to say. And he grabbed me, and he said, n'est-ce pas bon, ma chérie? And I said, va-t'en, je m'en fous. Isn't this beautiful, my darling? And I said, go away, I don't care. But it was not that hiss that made him full of fear and run off. It was that I felt an energy coming in me. And I grew, and he shrunk. He became just small like a little kid. And his eyes big like fear. And after that I had screamed that, va-t'en, je m'en fous. And he ran off. I was just totally shaking. And my body got back into its own shape. And I walked through and continued. But the lesson from that was that angels are an energy. Angels are frequencies. Angels are everywhere and can take any shape you want. It is up to you to get them there, to get them taken the shapes that you need. So that was an awesome insight. And the next lesson was lined up. And I have to apologize to the male people here. These were all Me Too situations. Obviously, I had to learn in my life via that way. And I realized as a young child, wow, how can that? We human species, half of the human species is afraid for the other half. What's that about? So I'm very pleased that the Me Too is opening up and that we finally can see how can we become pals and co-create our relationships there. So, back to the story. I was biking alongside a river, and here the houses were going to stop, and there was a big bushes and trees. And yes, the motorcyclist passed me, and he got off his motor and his helmet, and he stood there for me to just come. And I thought, oh God. And I turned around. There was an older couple biking behind me. An older couple. Where did they come from? I biked pretty fast. I had never seen them. And I slowed down, I slowed down, I slowed down until I was with them. I said, would you mind if I go ride with you guys? And then they said, yes, be my guest. So they covered me on both sides. We drove past the young man who was totally confused and in shock. He was standing there with his helmet. So I don't know what he saw, but we were safe behind it. And at the end of the biking path, I had to go to the right, and they said, we need to take the other road. And I thanked them, and I went to my road, and when I wanted to look back to say one more time bye, they were gone. Mm-hmm. So angels can take the real body of a real person, okay? And they can transform and floop, be gone. That was another lesson. But my biggest lesson still had to come. And my biggest lesson was a lesson that took 13 years in the make to create that. I came into a relationship that became abusive. And I say on purpose became, because we are co-creating. We are co-creating our relationships. We are doing it ourselves. We just don't know how. We just don't know how that happened. We have to get insight in how that happened. So when I told my mom, I said, I cannot believe I was 13 years in that. And she said, you must have needed it. Yeah, I must have needed it. And I just only recently, just 3 months before, I had learned about the subconscious mind, about how we create our own destiny, how we create our own future. And I had realized that I was a singer, and my most songs that I love the most were You're Mean to Me from Billie Holiday, you know? And when I stopped singing them, I didn't touch any song that had misery or nothing of that. I was out of it within 3 months. So that was such an important message to me. We are really responsible for whatever we do in our lives. However, when we come to the finding that how was that created? Well, when you could see, I was until my 7th really in the angelic realm, and I was totally there. And Bruce Lipton calls it the theta stage. It is a hypnosis state that every person up to a year of 7 is in. You are in that angelic realm. Everything is possible. But what also happens at those first 7 years, you're downloaded by everything you encounter. Everything is printed into you. And that is what you think your life is going to be. That is what you start to believe and to live up to. So I realized that had happened with me. How come? Because my family was a loving family. I had not seen abuse or anything. And how come I ended up with that? Because my programming was in the hospital. I felt I was done things to, and I had a lot of pain. I did not know how my life was going to be. And whenever I see my mom back, or my family, I did not know. And I escaped my body. So that is what you do when you're in an abusive relationship. And when it dawned to me that I just was repeating what I was downloaded with, and I was in charge, in charge of changing my misery. Just by creating my blessings, then things start falling in place in a different way. And once you can feel the energetic feelings of the angelic realm, combining with your programming, your new programming, you get up with your gratitude, you find your happiness, even though it is not happy and that one person you could just do with. you put yourself in the area of, no, I'm going to love him no matter what. Because it is my new life. And I want to create our new life with more people in a new way, and I want to contribute to that. Once you combine that, then things start showing up in your life that give you direction, that open up your real passion and things that you need to do. Like, I stood in front of that bookcase and I grabbed that book, that one book that I talked about last time, I don't know who heard it, but that book was about peaceful conflict resolution and changed my life from being a theater director to a person who was going to be a communication trainer forever from now on. I'll put the book back for someone else to find it. Okay, so, and how does angels show up in other ways? Like, I was with a psychic and she all of a sudden said, who are those two girls that I see on your shoulder? I said, oh, that must be my twin. So I had lost a twin in pregnancy, a twin girl, and they were my angels, they were my guides. So if ever of you had lost anybody, or even the person who has taken his life right now that you talked about, he may be in another realm and may be doing work for us, or for you, or for, they did it for me, with me, my guides, okay? And how does it show up in real little concrete things, like not too long ago, when I gave class, like Gina here, felt pressed that she should come earlier to my class. And here she found me. I was totally devastated because I had just lost my mom and my kids moved out of state and I was really unhappy. And I was like in the anesthesia, feeling my body slipping away. And she came and knocked the door and she found me and she did energetic work on me. So what I asked the band to play this time also is be an instrument. Can I be an instrument? Can I be an instrument for that angelic feeling? If I have combined it, if I know what caused me to create my life, if I can make changes, then I can combine it and I can go from then on. And even like I was with Kim, who was sitting there, recently sitting on a tree, I asked, a couple came by with a little kid, and I asked them to take a photo of us. And then when we're done, the man turned around and he said, there's a storm coming. And we looked up and we split up, we went home, I biked fast, I closed the door behind me and my bike, and the rain and the wind pounded against my front door. So the angelic realm, or whatever that is, that good force that helps us going through our life in a different way, is there for us. We just need to be open for it. We need to be open to receive it and open to give it. Open to be able to give it to others. That it comes via us and is being given to others. Now people say a lot, oh, I would like to be enlightened. I of course say good luck, but how does that work then with the angels? Well, even the masters who are already enlightened still come back to earth, still come back, and they still do a notch up apart by helping us getting through wars or whatever, bigger things, so that they can also climb higher. And with that, take all of us a notch higher. Okay, I wish you a very angelic Sunday, and thank you so much. If anybody wants to know more of my work, what I do, I have a sign-up sheet that you can leave your name and information behind, and I'll contact you. Have a blessed day.
Thank you, Celia. Thank you for your energy. Thank you for your contribution.